a second theme is about their story, the story of the sisters, and our story, and where they intersect and come together. And then finally, we want you to leave with a blessing. Now, how many of you, first, are new to Peace Health entirely? Wow. Alan, turn around. Look how many. Alan, come on up. I want you to see this. If you're new to Peace Health, raise your hand. Stand up if you're new to Peace Health. What do you think we should do for these folks? Let's welcome them. Thank you. So for those of you who are new to Peace Health, I don't know if anybody told you, but we're a Catholic healthcare system. And we do things a little differently. So I hope that you will feel welcomed and part of this. How many came here from, what's the furthest?
Ketchikan, Alaska.
Ketchikan, Alaska. Stand up if you're from Ketchikan. Okay. Bellingham and the communities around there. Okay. Welcome. Longview? Bellevue. All right. Longview. There we go. All right. The island.
Yeah, I was just going to say Friday Harbor, San Juan Island. Anybody?
Anyone. All right. Heading south?
Let's start with Florence. There's Rich.
Where's the Florence?
That is Grove.
All right.
Eugene Springfield.
All right. And those of you who are from Southwest.
Medical Center.
Yeah. So I just want to conclude and just sort of set tone for a moment, and Alan will take over. When we tell stories, we are beginning the process of making meaning. How we frame our life experience, the stories we tell, and how we connect with those stories begins to inform us in a deeper way, and perhaps at the soul level, of who we are, of what we're about, and who we yet hope to become. Make sense? What happens? What happens to us when we come together with others in the way we do here? When we start to see that their stories and our stories share something in common. What happens to us? And that's what we hope you will experience the beginning of today in this ceremony of welcoming and in this ceremony of dedication and blessing as we express gratitude to you and for all that you've done to come to this place.
Thank you, Bob. Indeed, we are here today on sacred ground. This may look like a tech center, but it's much more than that. Because across this entire room, there are interactions with the people we serve every day that create sacred moments of time, that create an impression of Peace Health, an impression of who we are as people. And every one of those interactions has the potential of enhancing the relationships, of building a sense of spirituality and understanding of what this ministry of Peace Health has been for so many years. In a sense, the discussion about us being here today began almost 4 years ago. But it was not about service center. It was not about a tech building. It was not about Vancouver, but it was about what it will take to sustain this ministry that is now almost 120 plus years old for another 100 years. Because what we do in our time as leaders here today, and our generation of leadership, is defined for today what it means to deliver care to all in communities we serve. Not just deliver health care, but deliver a spirit that actually came to the Northwest with two sisters 120 years ago. Came to serve a population that was underserved, a population that heretofore had almost no health care. And so ours is for today the interpretation of what it means to serve. And yes, it is very different than those days in Fairhaven in 1890, when there was a little wood frame building, and for $5 a year you could get all the care that you needed in this building in Fairhaven, Washington. It was quite a time. I refer to that as the Northwest's first HMO. But it was a commitment of two sisters who built, with the help of their communities and the help of those actually who needed services, to create something from nothing. Now, imagine coming to the Northwest from New Jersey. It probably looked like a pretty wild place. But imagine coming with a dream and a goal and a few bucks in your pocket and a train ticket, coming west on that first railroad that had just been completed a year earlier. But it's on that tradition which we build. We build for mission, we operate for values, and we deliver care and the services we provide in this building for those who come to us in a time of need. So we are on a new journey here. I must say, Joe Cordum and his board gave us an opportunity of a lifetime, because the commitment of all of us, including the Peace Health Board of Directors, was to locate this center in a place where we had active health care services and ministries going on. And we could not have done that without Peace Health Southwest. In fact, we started down a road. We knew this was a great community. All the consultants told us this was the place to be. But we stopped in mid-track. There are many things in life that we can't explain, so why they occur. But literally within 90 days of stopping the process and saying we are going to wait until the answer is clear, Joe called and said, we'd like to talk to Peace Health. And we're here today as a result of that new partnership, of now the newest member of the family. We can only say that for another month or two until Jim opens the newest hospital up in San Juan Island. But it is that moment, that intervention of some would call the hand of God, that we could not have otherwise anticipated. And so we're here to carry on the mission. It is why we exist. It is why we gather together, because today it means to be successful in delivering the mission, we have to do things in different ways, defining for today what it takes to deliver the promise that we made, that two sisters made 120 years ago. I would be remiss not to mention Mother Joseph. Mother Joseph was the founder of Peace Health Southwest and St. Joseph Hospital here in Vancouver. And Mother Joseph was also a pioneer who came with great faith. When her father delivered her to the convent, he said, "This is a woman of great skill and talent, and you will find her to be a great benefit to your congregation." And indeed, she was one of the early members in the Northwest of the Sisters of Providence. And so, as we think about the future, we are beginning to blend the richness of many traditions. Mother Joseph, Mother Teresa, Moran. And now, as we think about the potential of our partnership with Catholic Health Initiatives, women, courageous women religious from a variety of other congregations. And every time we add people, we add richness, we add diversity, and we add a common commitment to operate in the best interest of our communities, especially those who have nowhere else to turn. And so we are now all part of that. I must say, personally, I have just found this community to be a rich, welcoming, and open community. All of the executive team is now here in Peace Health. Those of us are part of the shared services team. And it is just a delight to be here. So today, we not only want to celebrate this transition, this milestone, this marking of a new place in which care is delivered, but we also want to recognize you, because at the end of the day, it's what all of us in this room do to care for those who come to us. So I want to thank you for your dedication, this long-standing ministry. For those who are new to Peace Health, it's great to have you as part of this family and this team. We will continue to be blessed by your presence. We want to thank you for your willingness to come to serve, to be part of building the future of the next 100 years of service. Thank you ever so much.
You'll notice there's 3 names, Sister Beth and our dancer could not be with us today because her best friend's mom died. And she was called to be of service to her friend. So, so I volunteered to step in. Sister Beth, tell us a story.
I love to tell a story. I'll take the clock that you presented us with, the 2 sisters coming west. Well, I'm going to bring the story back to another time, a little bit earlier than that. And I am a storyteller, and because of that, I can't stand still. I don't dance, but I do kind of move around. There's a quote that I do love, and again, I think you referenced the power of story. And it's this quote from William Bosch. He says, "Every people, nation, and community has stories and myths that preserve and prolong the traditions that give them their identity." So I'm here to tell a story, not simply about the past, but it's our story as well. And the story, I will start somewhat at one point, but give you the journey that brought Mother Frances Clare to that place. Her story of founding the Sisters of Peace began in 1883 when she was in a little Irish town of Knock. She at that time was a member of a Franciscan community. And she felt called by God to do something new, to leave behind that community where she had spent 25 years in a semi-cloistered environment, to found another community that would bring the sisters and the vision of care for those who are marginalized into life. And so she left Knock, which was in Ireland, and set sail for England. And in 1884, inspired by the Spirit, she founded a new community. And one of the things she did was to advertise. She said, "We are beginning a new order. We want brave, noble, large-minded, courageous souls." Sound familiar? So that new community was gifted with a name, Sisters of Peace, moved by the vision and a mission of Mother Frances Clare, who had devoted her 25 years as a Franciscan sister, to naming and challenging those situations in the world around her that diminish the dignity and worth of individuals. And so she said, I want to start another community that would go beyond the walls of the convent into the lives of people. And there were two who answered that call, Evangelista Gaffney and Rose Kelly. You start with two, and the vision calls to something greater. So at this point of the story, we can say their story is our story, from their hands to our hands, entrusted to carry on with great compassion a ministry of peace and healing for all in need.
Healer of our every ill, light of each tomorrow, give us peace beyond our fear and hope beyond our sorrow.
So in January of 1884, this new community was founded. By the early part of 1885, Mother Frances Clare, again moved by a sense of commitment to the needs of the poor and the marginalized, felt called and missioned to come to the East Coast of the United States. She knew that that choice to leave England and that very small community of sisters, trusting to them that they would carry on the mission that had begun about 9 months before, that she set sail with Sister Evangelista to come to the East Coast. Because the needs of the poor and the marginalized, the Irish who had migrated from a land where there was great poverty, and she had named it in that context, she comes to the East Coast. And there too, she raises her voice, names and claims those elements and structures that marginalize, diminish the quality of life. She was passionate about the role of women in society, claiming that we were all called equally to use our gifts and talents. She named those systems in place that made people poor. No one chooses poverty or ignorance or disenfranchisement. She named those kinds of systems. The people who were disenfranchised loved her because she spoke on their behalf. There were people in the church, some in society, some in government, who were not too thrilled. But it was a mission, and it was a passion. Peace, fullness of life. So there she was, and for 3 years, with additional, as she would say, brave, noble, large-minded, courageous souls, they joined her because of a mission that was bigger than themselves. They faced challenges, and one of the challenges that was particularly challenging was that within 3 years, by 1888, the outspoken vision and commitment of Mother Frances Clare was being interpreted by some persons within the church as being cause for that little community, the Sisters of Peace, to be suppressed. So, for the sake of the mission, for the enduring possibility that the Sisters of Peace would carry on, she loved us enough to leave. And Sister Evangelista, to whom Mother Frances Clare turned over the leadership of the community to her, loved us enough to stay for the sake of the mission. Their story is our story. From their hands to our hands. Entrusted to carry on with great compassion, and I would say commitment and courage and strong will. A mission and ministry of peace and healing for all in need.
Healer of our every ill, light of each tomorrow, give us peace beyond our fear and hope beyond our sorrow.
The passing on of a vision, the calling forth of new leadership, was part and parcel of our story then. And so Evangelista finds herself with a community in England, a community of sisters on the East Coast, and lo and behold, isn't there that invitation that comes in probably 1889, come west. And interestingly enough, a few years prior to that, that invitation had been extended to Mother Frances Clare. Send sisters, go west. And she was excited about that. But that invitation, as many were during that period of time, was taken off the table. But now, again, the invitation comes. And Sister Evangelista, brave, large-minded, engaged in a mission, knowing that it was also the vision of Mother Frances Clare, chose, as you referenced, 2 young sisters to go west. And I kind of put myself in their shoes. Good God. They've been in the community probably maybe 2 to 3 years. They're East Coast people. I mean, they know the East Coast. They hear about the Wild West. And did they volunteer? I don't know. But they were sent. You know, the mission calls. It was separation. Just as there was separation from England to the East Coast. There was insecurity. There were limited resources. Few sisters. Where are the sisters today? So Teresa Moran, Stanislaus Tig, they get on the rail, you know, on the train. No 5-hour journey, 11 days. In my mind, I'm thinking, okay, East Coast women, they think they know what mountains look like. No. They get to the Midwest, Great Plains, and I'm thinking, they're probably saying, are we there yet? Then they see on the horizon, what is that? They get closer. My God, those are mountains. They thought they knew mountains on the East Coast. Now they see the Rocky Mountains. They say, whoa. They get over the Rocky Mountains, they get to Tacoma. Hooray for the Franciscan sisters. They say, welcome. And Teresa Moran and Stanislaus Tig, I'm sure, said, are we there yet? They said, no, you're not there yet. You need to get on a boat. Go up to Seattle. They get up to Seattle. The Sisters of Providence. Say, welcome, sisters. Are we there yet? No. Get on a boat and you go up to Bellingham. And as Ellen said, they got there. Big dreams, limited resources. Sound familiar? One thing about Teresa Moran, she wrote letters. Back to Mother Evangelista. It rains a lot here. Or, at one point, send sheets. Another time, send money. There's like 34 cents in the bank. And of course, send sisters. So, 4 sisters come and we open St. Joe's Hospital. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? So their story is our story. From their hands to our hands. Entrusted to carry on with great compassion. A ministry of peace and healing for all in need.
Healer of our every ill, light of each tomorrow, give us beyond our sorrow.
And I just want to give a little snapshot of what happened after the opening of St. Joseph Hospital in Bellingham. 5 years later or so, where are the sisters? Well, they've gone up to Canada to open another hospital, and then another. In 1917, where did they go? They went to Seward, Alaska, for heaven's sake. After two ice washouts or whatever, and the flu, they closed that hospital. And then they went to Ketchikan, Alaska, 1923. What helped them get from there, from Seward to Ketchikan, was friendship. It always helps if the pastor at one place happens to be the pastor in another. So when the Bishop of Alaska said to the sisters, would you take over the leadership in Alaska? They were a bit hesitant until their friend, the pastor, said, come. By invitation, we are stretched. And we find resources around us with the creativity of so many. With creativity with HMO, with these coupons. With the creativity to say, what are the shared visions? What are the shared gifts? How can we do this together? Because it can never be done alone. So here we are. Are we there yet? We are here because we have a shared vision. We know that there is great need. Mother Frances, Clare, in her day, in her time, and in her ways, she named the realities of the disenfranchised. She raised up the dignity of all persons. She crossed the artificial boundaries and barriers of her time and empowered others to a vision that called them, resonated within, we can make a difference. So here we are. Their story, our story, their time, and now it's ours. And as we say in our mission statement, we carry on a healing mission. We do that by promoting individual and community health, relieving pain and suffering, and treating every person in a loving and caring way. And I think, just as Mother Frances Clare gave us sisters our name, Sisters of Peace, so that we would have a love for peace and a commitment to it, I think our name, Peace Health, and I'm sure Sister Frances Clare is smiling, would say, may your name inspire a love for peace and wellness and a commitment to it. We carry on, and it's our story. And isn't it wonderful to be a part of it?
Only Sister Beth can do that. Thank you, Sister Beth. Thank you for inspiring us again. So what we're going to do is invite you to come forward. There'll be 3 stations here and each of the side aisles. If you're coming forward this way, we'll ask you to walk back one of those aisles, and if you're coming forward that way, walk back the outer aisles. And we will ask you to hold your hand out. and we will place in your hand a gift. And we will take your other hand and place it over the gift. And we'll pray a very simple prayer, an intention of blessing for you, and ask you to go back to your seat. We'll also invite those of you who are here from FET and Extended FET, and anyone else have, Alan, do I have it? FET and Extended FET, here, and in front of those rows. And as people go back to their seats, thank them. Thank them for the work they do, personally. Okay?
So I'm going to revise Bob's.
Go ahead, you do it,
Bob's,
yeah.
I'm going to use, the president's prerogative here.
You're the boss.
Indeed, we'll form the 3 rows, but I would like us to form a circle around this room. And we'll get the Extended FET group starting on either side of the stage. And then just continue to circle all the way around the room. It'll be cozy. But I think this is an important and symbolic moment, because this is a team, this is a group that really comes together for service. And so rather than going back to your seats, let's just build a big circle around the room. And at the end, Bob will conclude with a final blessing, and we'll go on our way.